So, hello everyone. We are back after a very, very long time. There was a bit of a hiatus. Things have happened. Anup has graduated. Congratulations, Anup. Yay!
Yay!
And yeah, we are still doing our little exercise. We have kind of, I would say, not been as disciplined as we were earlier in the year, but we are still keeping up. And there's a big long overdue that we have to fulfill since week 29 all the way to whichever week this is right now. Uh, in this case, we're going to review five books that would be overdue. The first one is Stock Investing for Dummies. After that, we have uh, Negotiation
Negotiating
101,
101.
Negotiating 101, uh, Naked by David Sedaris, and then No Exit by who
John
was
Paul
it? John Paul
Sartre.
Sartre, and then The Element of Style. It's about writing of books, and yeah, it's quite a bit to finish. Anup, how have you been?
Oh, I'm good. A lot of things happened, like as you told. So I wrote my master thesis. I defended it successfully, to my surprise, and then I am applying for jobs now. So in my case, like a lot of things changed. It was summer. Now it's winter. Obviously, um, right after my thesis finished, it got cold. Right.
Yeah,
So besides that, everything is fine in my case. How's it going with you?
no, it's okay as well. Nothing specific, nothing great, nothing bad. So going through the mundane aspects of life, nothing so special
Mm.
for me. But we have quite a bit of backlog to fill, and you know, normally it made sense to make individual video for each one of them, but truth be told, I don't. I would have to reread the book to be able to cover each and every aspect of them in detail. So why don't we just quickly summarize whatever we remember from each of these books?
Mm.
What was our takeaway, and yeah, what was our impressions from this book? So
Mm.
let's start with
Let's start
the
with stock investing, eh?
yeah. So, how do you find that book? Just in a nutshell.
Um, it was okay. It was good. I read some books in that direction, such as Set for Life, but also I think Richest Man in Babylon was sort of a motivation for this
Yeah.
kind of books, right? Like this was, I think, more practical. So it essentially takes you from the essentials of stock investing, um, and thinking about what you should consider before buying stocks, how to pick winning stocks, and it also tells you some of the basic investment strategies and tactics, right? Like what to do when. So that was nice. I think there is some information such as S&P 500, like what that means, and what the difference between stocks and index funds are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you should do. Like for me, some interesting things that I learned here was, I guess, that they were saying you should go risky if you are young, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because you can still compensate all the losses that you undergo, right? If you are young, but if you are old, like let's say 40 to 50, then you should not take that much risk. Then you should, like, instead of investing to stocks, you should go for index funds. So that
Mm-hmm.
was, I think, the new information what I gained from here. Yeah,
Mm.
that's
Quite good.
those things that I can remember.
Yeah. For me, I really thought the book was very prosaic, right? It was highly technical. Wasn't
Mm.
There was no flow, no rhythm. It was like reading a textbook. I guess if I
Yeah.
was in ecom, economics first year, second year, maybe investment class, then
Mm.
probably would have been a great read. But for a week-long read, it was very boring. But and
Mm.
I think a lot of the topics were quite simple, but there were quite a few things that I learned as well. For example, index funds and such, whatever were these S&P 5000, Dow Jones, DAX, and everything such that like stock market, what is it? Um those were something quite new. I wouldn't say quite new, but even though I had heard about them, the definitions and the yeah, stuffs around it was quite nice, and I would say I enjoyed that book. Bit boring, but if I read it like a textbook, skimmed through the definitions, whichever I knew, focused more on the examples, and that's how I had studied through my student life, and that's how I did this as well. Overall, it was very textual and very text heavy, but I would recommend people who want to seriously consider some kind of investment. Were
Yeah,
you
definitely.
motivated to make some investment because of that? Because of the book?
I did my first investment, so it was basically only 10 euros, but like still, I had to do that step, right? Like I was
Mm-hmm.
reading all these stock investing books, but I was never invested. So this time I thought like just do it. And
Mm-hmm.
right after I invested, like the stock prices went down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
so, so that's that. But like it just went down 1 euro, so I'm still okay, I
Huh.
guess.
Yeah, I heard now that I understand some of the lingos of stock investment, I heard a lot of the stock market is currently dominated by AI firms, either in
Mm,
chip makers, which is Nvidia, which is the largest chip maker, probably the largest company in the world, and other AI firms. And in some sense, I don't want to sponsor my own obsolescence, right? With
mm.
AI coming of age and people being obsolete, yeah, yeah. So I'm still considering that. From my
Mhm.
point of view, I'm looking into making some uh, long-term investments in IPOs, especially in energy sector, which I think is viable market, and
Mm.
some food and industries. But let's see how it goes. But all in all, it was quite good trade. Uh,
Yeah.
w- Maybe let's move on to next book. I forgot to mention another book that we had read along the way. It's called My Work Is Not Yet Done, if you remember that.
But I thought we covered that, didn't
No,
we?
no, no, no.
Or
We haven't done that yet. It was done after Stock Investment for Dummies. So,
okay, okay.
yeah. So the book was so unremarkable that we completely forgot that we had read that.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, so, do you remember anything at all from the book? Oh,
Oh, definitely, definitely. I forgot the names, but like I think the main character names was Frank, right? Um, or something like that.
I
Anyways, like it's about it's the genre itself was for me like really funny because it was I think office horror or
yeah,
something like that,
corporate
right?
horror.
Corporate horror, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the word. So it's about a guy like who is given a project and he has a novel idea, right? Like there are 5 6 departments, and this guy is one of the head of this department,
Mm-mm.
and he presents his idea. Um, but somehow he does not want to submit his idea for whatsoever reason, and later on he gets demoted,
Mm-mm.
and after his demotion he um, wants to take revenge to each and every person of the group, right? Like
Mm-mm.
to those 5 or 6 people. Yeah, and then suddenly, like, and that was the weirdest part, I think, for me. He kind of becomes a ghost or some entity, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like he kind of starts killing all of these 5 people one by one, I think.
In
But
complete
he does
bizarre
not
ways as
see
well.
the
Like
last.
it's not even like normal ways. It's completely bizarre how he kills
Exactly,
them.
exactly. Exactly. Do you still remember the details, like how he kills them?
No, no, no.
I know that that one guy was somehow trapped, and I don't know, in a room or
Yeah,
in a confined space, right? Like that was, I think, one person. Another girl was, I think, like eaten by some person, I think,
yeah,
like the last kill, and yeah, something like this. And anyways, like the somehow like the boss, like his immediate supervisor, he kind of knows that he is ghost and something like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
And he kind of sees it, um, and then like he discovers that he actually had an accident and he's in hospital. His body can't move, and he's, I don't know, like I didn't get the ending too well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think at least from my understanding, it was the guy. He has a lot of pent-up resentment, right? Because he has
Mm-hmm.
been, uh, I think, demoted, and consequently he leaves the job because of his
Yeah.
demotion. I think he has disagreements, and he's bitter with his experience, and on his way going back to home, he has a lot of in mind, and I think he gets into an accident, and he is in this phase when he where he should die, but probably he's a ghost because his soul didn't find any solace in life, and that's why he goes around hunting people and killing people in bizarre ways. It gave an impression of watching a horror movie from the point of view of the ghost, right? The character who
Yeah.
scares everybody else. So it was like a horror movie from the point of view of a ghost, and kind of trying to justify why he was doing that. But yeah, it was just a ridiculous story, to be honest. It was like one of those things you would read, right? Just for
Yeah.
entertainment, without having to think about anything like why this happened, what this happened. So it's not like watching Game of Thrones. It was like you were watching some South Indian action film where it goes boom, 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 boom,
Definitely.
bang, 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 bang. But
Definitely.
all
It
in
was
all,
kind of like the mezzanine gone wrong.
yeah, more I would say more action packed than Mezzanine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I would recommend that book, at least for an early reader, right? Who's probably trying to get into the whole skits of reading books. I think this is a good read as well. But yeah, you can think it was so unremarkable that we didn't think about it in the last weeks that we had already read about this. So doesn't make quite a bit
Mm.
of a high up in the list.
Yep.
After that, we read Negotiation 101.
Yep.
I would
How do you
say
like it?
I would say it was okay. The language skill was kind of, I thought, was from the 80s, but turns out the book is quite new. So yeah, when I first read, I thought I was going to read something more like the one that we read earlier. What was that? Uh,
Which one?
I forgot, the one with language statistics. So I thought it would be something like that, right?
Mm.
In the
Mm.
way it will handle the topics would be more interactive and so on.
Mm.
It was a bit like that, but not in detail. And yeah, there's also a bit, I would say, heavy on uh, technical details in the say. But well, yeah, wasn't something that was very exciting. I wouldn't say it was one. I would still say it is one of those dull to do books for me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Self-help kind of. One thing that I liked and I learned something in this book is that you should also sometimes focus on long-term relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a new concept for me because we come from Nepal, and like if the buyer kind of shop owner tells you like, yeah, like I want 1,500 rupees for this pant or jeans, you straightly say like, no, I'll give you 200 rupees, right? Like it's
Mm,
totally you totally lower it, because you don't want to have long-term relationship with that guy, right? But
mm.
in this book it kind of says like, depending on the context, and if it's like a recurring business partner of yours, then you should make a deal in such a way that both of you don't go leave empty-handed,
Yeah.
like that was for me a really beautiful message, I think.
I mean, at least when I was growing up, a lot of the messages from this were was something I was taught as well, where it's
Mm-hmm.
always trying to have a deal where both of you and the other party can benefit from it, right? Not
Yep.
necessarily make a deal in expense of the other guy, but yeah. Uh, so the book covers a lot of those, I would say, age-old wisdom. People communicate through life, and yeah, it was I would say it was probably not so entertaining because of whatever. There was no
Mm-hmm.
novelty for me, at least.
Yep.
Uh, But I would recommend people to read this book if you haven't had much chance to delve into this topic, right?
Yeah.
After that, we have Naked by David Sedaris.
Mm,
Uh, I I would say I haven't finished that book yet because halfway through I was completely bored by it. I know David Sedaris from his previous work. I remember reading a book called Meet Talk Pretty One Day by him, and
mm,
he's very funny guy in the book, right? Um, but at that time I was probably 15, 14 and 15, and it was hilarious. But for some reason, this book, even though there were quite a few quips here and there, I
mm,
was not uh, I was not very into it, to be honest. This reminds me of another book that I was reading that I have not finished yet, because the thing is, it goes so deep into the psyche of the writer, his real time experience, that uh, nothing happens, and probably at this time of my life I'm not so into to think about his thinking. It's called In Search for Lost Time. Apparently this book has 4.5 rating in Goodreads. It's
mm.
highly acclaimed. It has, I think, 10,000 pages or something like that. But
Oh, okay, that's a number.
yeah, I don't know how. It's a book with 10 volumes. So In Search for
Mm,
Lost Time. It's by
mm,
Marcel Proust, and it's a highly regarded book. It's called a classic. It's 4.3 in Goodreads,
mm,
and yeah, it's 4,000 pages. So incorrect from my side. But while
mm,
reading this book, it felt a bit more like while reading Naked. Is I'm reading the stuffs, but because the things are happening, so you get a deep inside the thinking of the writer themselves.
mm,
You are lost into it, and I don't remember what I read like 5 pages ago. And so in some ways this book felt like that, and yeah, as of right now I was not in the best state to finish this book. I would do this
mm.
in the coming few days as well, hopefully. But to be completely transparent, I am yet to finish this book. How did you find Anup? I know you finished the book.
It was quite interesting. Interesting in a way, like, I mean, I also found it boring most of the part, but in every chapter there was something like that was interesting to me. Like
Mm,
most of the part was like okay, but like suppose in that one part, like where they saw kind of like the relationship between his mother and his grandmother, right?
mm,
That was I could relate to that because I think in most of the cases the mother-in-law and the wife they have certain problems,
mm, mm,
what I mean? And
mm,
that was also portrayed in the book where the mother-in-law calls like his mother like girl or something like that, right? That was
mm,
really funny, but also other in I think in one chapter, his sister she becomes a woman, right? Like so she has her first period and stuff like that. So
mm.
like there are certain parts like in each chapter like which was interesting, but like overall the whole chapter was kind of yeah a bit different to read, I think, than other books that we read in the past.
Yeah, from my point of view, I think this comes under one of those books which you read over a long period of time, right? You take one day, like you take months to read it. You just
Mm,
at the end of the day, you just read one chapter and then let it simmer in your head, probably take some comfort in the read, and then something like that. But yeah, when you're trying to read it along the book for and try to finish it within 1 week, yeah, probably not so much. We have read some other books as well which we thought was not sufficient. At least for me, there are other books as well which I didn't think were sufficient to rush through the 1 week period, and rather give more time and enjoy it. This is uh, there's something like that. I remember there's an anime called Mushishi, which is my
mm,
favorite anime, right? And the first time I watched it, I just binged it like you think
Mm,
about other shows. And then later on, I realized that okay, this show is not something that you're supposed to binge it. So I
mm,
watched it in I think 2015 or even earlier, and even to this day, I still watch the episodes of Mushishi when I am having probably a bad day or probably just very tired from my day or just want to sit
mm,
back and just have an half an hour of feel good.
mm.
It's something that I watch. So I thought probably this can go into something like that. But yeah, I will have to give it more time.
Yep.
After that, we read the last book that we're going to cover this time. No, no exits, right?
Mm. From John Paul Sartre.
Yeah, John Paul Sartre. Ah, second last book. Yeah, No Exist from John Paul Sartre. How did you find that?
It was a short read, but it was really awesome. I found
Yeah.
there are a lot of stuff in the book. A lot of things happened, right?
Mhm.
It also shows certain flaws, certain human flaws, right? And it was really nice. How did you find it?
Uh, I would say it was it was fascinating read to say the least.
Mm,
So much
mm,
happens in such a short period of time, right? And you're trying to engage with the characters. It's a drama to begin with, and
yeah,
uh, yeah, when you read it, you have to read it in different frame of mind. Try to vocalize the characters they're speaking, and in a sense, the depiction is probably of hell, where there are three people who each one of them wants a different thing that cannot be fulfilled by any one of them there, and because of that, they are living in a forever sense of pursuit that never gets fulfilled. And yeah, in a sense, it was quite fascinating. I think the most interesting part was how the things are revealed to every character because uh, it felt like at first you think nobody had any reason to be in hell. They were doing quite, yeah, they looked like decent people, but each of them had their own dark past. And I think it is a hearkening to every one of us who has a dark past because we probably have done something bad to somebody else, right? So, consequently, we could not just deny that from our existence and we'll be judged after our death, and we might end up in the room like the no exit one.
mm,
And yeah, in some sense, it was a very nice read. I highly recommend. I think there's a reason why this is one of the classics.
mm, 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 mm. Like, I also liked certain themes in the books. Basically, the guy, like, he
Mm.
didn't want it to be called a coward because he was fleeing,
Yeah,
deserting, like
yeah,
the conflict, the war, right?
yeah,
And he needs this validation that he is not a coward. That he kind of realizes that after a while, I think after some days, weeks, or months, people stop talking about him,
yeah,
right? So he never gets the chance that he get cleansed like from these judgments, right?
yeah.
So that is also an aspect that I find quite interesting because sometimes, like if I have talked with other friends of mine, like
Mm,
about death and about legacy, right? Like
mm,
people say, like, is your legacy important for you? And back in the days, I would say yes, right? But now it is, I think, like actually not really because, yeah, like you won't be remembered forever, right?
no, no. Yeah, that's something you have to think about it in a regular basis because uh, you, it doesn't affect you what legacy you leave behind, right? Once
Mm,
you're dead, you're gone, you're forgotten, and
yeah.
uh, you might be Einstein, but you will eventually be forgotten. There's
Mm,
no denying that, and because of that fact, there's no point in focusing for your legacy. But uh, to some extent, it gives people meaning. It's like if you try to create something in your name, in your image, you're basically playing God, and you will be everything for the thing that you create, and it will not come to existence without you. there. So in some essence, uh, yeah, it's probably something that gives you more meaning in life. Otherwise, you're not going to be forgotten. So you're not going to be remembered forever. So even the greatest people from the past won't be remembered after future
Mm.
generations, if you think about it. So yeah, it was something to think about. And the final
No.
book that we read during this period was The Element of Style by William Strunk Jr. and E.B. White. How did you like it? Did you read it?
Yeah, I read it today. As I was on my way to Aachen. Um, like I was reading it like 20 pages, 30 pages, but I think it's sort of a book that I need to reread it again and again,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I don't think you can just read it in one read and then like because it's also a teaching book, right?
yeah,
It teaches you how you should write books,
yeah.
which kind of style matters and stuff. So yeah,
It's a
was
very, it's a very technical
yeah,
book.
definitely.
Yeah. This reminded me of one conversation we were having, if you remember, before when we were discussing about how to write a thesis. And I was very adamant to write everything in passive voice, and you were like, no, we have to write in active voice, and so on.
Mm,
Uh, at least according to this book, yeah, you are correct.
mm,
We have to write it in active voice. Try to make it more remarkable in some sense.
mm,
Uh, and yeah, it's basically I would say um the reason why this book came up to my mind is I was reading this book by Stephen King called On Writing,
mm,
where Stephen King speaks about how to write, how to be a good writer, and everything. Probably he had a lot of pressure from people to write about it, and he says that there's no book that you can read that will teach you how to write other than The Element of Style. And
mm,
I
mm,
was completely fascinated by it. I thought it would be some kind of inspirational book or something, but it is a highly technical book. Tells
mm,
you how to construct your sentences, how to create clauses, and uh, I have a feeling my English teacher back in school had read this book because a lot of rules he set out for us were all mentioned in this book as well. So
mm.
I can see a lot of contemporary writing skills that were developed from here. All in all, I think Stephen King, who is a very renowned and highly regarded writer, recommends this book. Then I think you should read this book as well. So, in a nutshell, how would you rate that total reading experience of this last few weeks? The one that we covered all the books. Which one do you rate the best? Which one do you say, yeah, not my cup of tea, and so on?
I think in my case, mostly it boiled down to the length of the book because I was during the final weeks of my thesis, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I could only read books of certain size, like in depth, and if it exceeded certain size, such as stock investing for dummies,
Mm-hmm.
I would only read some part of it, like in detail, but some part I would just read through it, right, without thinking too much about it. So that's why I think No Exit was definitely one of the good books that I read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the corporate horror was nice because it was something that I didn't read, like that genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was also good. So I would say like the corporate horror one and No Exit one was like interesting.
For me,
In your case?
I liked No Exit as well. It's a
Mm,
very good book. Highly recommend. Sorry, highly recommend that. Probably a reason why it's a classic as well. Uh, I also liked the even though I was quite critical about stock investing for dummies, I would say it's a really good entry point for people who want to get into investment. In some sense, the book also helped me contextualize what kind of investment I want to do. So I'm not someone who's into uh, short-term investments, right? I prefer medium to long-term investments, and the book kind of gives you mix. makes sense for you, what kind of investments are what kind of investments. So if you invest in land, then it's fine, but you're probably investing on a long-term investment on strong on immovable investments, immovable assets, and so on, and shares and index funds and I forgot some of the other technical terms that were used. Probably be another book. I would have it in my repertoire whenever I want to just skim through things, want to learn new stuff. So those two books would be uh, ones on my top. I would probably give more focus while reading Naked, and
Mm.
yeah, maybe I can form a much better opinion of it once
Yeah.
I've completed it completely. For the coming weeks, we have some backlog to fill. For the coming week, Anup, you have a book to recommend? Which one do you recommend?
Yeah. It's called Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. It's
Okay,
written by Sally M. Winston. And wait a minute, like what was the first author again? I think the first author's name is Martin N. Sage.
okay, okay. Then for coming week, we read Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. Any special reason why you want to read this book?
No, because sometimes I think like I have this OCDs,
Yeah,
and I just want to know more about it.
interesting.
That's the reason.
Mm. From my side, I want to recommend this book called Make Your Bed.
Mm,
Uh, Make Your Bed. This one has been written by, it's only around 100 pages long, by
mm,
Admiral William H. McRaven.
mm,
So it's a book about small changes, kind of like Atomic Habits,
mm,
and yeah, it's Make Your Bed. Is a guy who's quite famous because I remember listening to his uh, graduation speech or something that he was doing. It was quite viral in YouTube, and yeah, this sounds like a good read, short book, something that we can finish this through. And hopefully
yeah,
next week or the week after we cover both of them and further. We have to calculate how many books we are overdue. Probably, I feel we are on schedule for one book a week, but if not, then we have to compensate for the backlog that we have created so far. But
yeah.
thank you once again, Anup. After a long time, we are back with the video.
Thank you for
I
having
think
me.
some of the viewer that we had already forgotten about us. Hopefully, they will find this in their home screen or their subscription screen and then say, "Ah, look, the dummies are back. They have came back with something new." And then, yeah, they will shower us with love that they had done in the past. And yeah, we hope to continue this in the future. Then, yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. We come again later in coming weeks.